Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Sport Federation TV, and of course, as you know, we talk about sport in the Western Cape. All the various codes, of course, a number of codes. They're structured in South Africa, across the provinces, across the districts, across the 6 districts, in fact, in the Western Cape. And of course, in the Western Cape, we've got a number of athletes who keep shining. And many of them have been to the Olympics, the Commonwealth Games, the World Championships, various other championships and titles across the board. Of course, this is rolling out heavily at the moment across the province. Provincial championships, South African championships, in fact, taking place right here. Archery is one of our codes within the Western Cape structure, has been very successful. Last year, of course, we spoke to Gunther Kramer, world archery champion. Archery is doing fantastic. In studio with me now, she's back, chairman of Western Cape Archery, Karen also. Karen, nice to have you back.
Thanks very much.
TV is no stranger for you. You've been involved in archery now for years. It's been a whole lot of different things. How long have you been competing?
I picked up a bow in 2007. Yes.
2007?
2008, somewhere there.
Yes. Before we talk about all your titles and championships and your recent return to archery, and we've got a fantastic video to show you folks. What was it that got you started in archery? Why did you pick up that bow?
JP, I was very involved in very sort of energetic sports all my life, and then I had some quite severe injuries to my body and had to stop. And for years I drove past the archery range and I thought, sure, that looks interesting. And one day I decided to go in there, and it's a sport that I can play even though my back was damaged and my knees were damaged. And yeah, it was. I think it would have been terrible, absolutely terrible, if I'd done it when I was younger.
When you started with archery, did you see it as a fighting sport, because it's pretty, you're using a weapon, or did you see it as a sort of a more calmer sport?
I think I had a preconceived. Yes, I understand what you're asking. I think I had a preconceived idea that it was a sexy fighting sport, but when I went in there, it was actually very meditative, and I'd never ever played a sport like that. I mean, I excelled at hockey and squash and show jumping and all of that prior to that, so it was all adrenaline. And I think because I was slightly older, I could appreciate just the stillness of it. And that's what I learned, and it brought me huge amount of joy.
Well, is that stillness that you're talking about in archery, is that something that one takes home?
Absolutely. I mean, I see it particularly when I'm coaching youngsters who struggle, attention deficit, etc., etc. They learn patience and learn the quietness. Of course, it's a bit of a contradiction in some ways, because when you're competing, you've got to get a decent score and win. So one tends to want to fight harder, but actually you're going to do better if you just reel it back in.
The last 2-3 years has seen Western Cape Archery just go from strength to strength. Many of us have spoken about this, that archery was a quiet little sport before out there, but it's exploded. You've got so much more attention on archery in the Western Cape. Athletes are now recognized across the disciplines. You've got your athletes all dressing as provincial athletes. You must be happy with where you are now.
Absolutely. I think, as you say, when I first started working with got onto the executive, we were struggling a little bit, and we didn't quite understand the structures. So I have to bounce it back to you and the Confederation to thank you for that, because I think we've gone on a journey together in a way.
But you seem to have also got a lot of good, motivated people around you, folks like Marie-Louise Vermeulen, who's just doing a fantastic job.
She's doing an amazing job, and what I'm really excited to add is that she's just started a pilot schools program, which we haven't had up to this point. We've had some other initiatives, like I started the para archery thing for some para schools, but she's just started at her club. Well, not at her club, actually at her school, which I'm very excited about. So yes, we've got some very, very good people coming on board, and I'm excited to say that Cape Town Archery Federation is also, we've got a new guy there who's shaking it up.
That's great.
So, and as you know, it's critical. The admin is the hard stuff.
You guys also competed in quite a few events, South African championships, continental championships. Tell us about this recent event that you went to.
That was the nationals. So that was the World Archery Nationals, which is very important, of course, because we've got an Olympic year coming up next year.
Right.
So people need to, if they want to qualify, they had to go. So I have to say the gauntlet was thrown down on me, who I'd been sitting on my laurels not shooting. So we went up last month.
Yeah.
And you have to go if you want to go to any of the qualifying worlds this year. It was up in Gauteng. They had it in Marks Park in Emmarentia.
Yeah.
It was an amazing event. It was really, really well set out, and I didn't want to go, to be honest. I had.
Well, before we take a look at that, let's take a look at let's take a look at some of the video that you sent us, folks. Right, we're lucky enough that some of the content was actually captured up in at Marks Park, where it was the nationals, number of athletes, Western Cape, of course. Karen, one of the athletes herself that was competing at the championships. But let's take a look, and we'll come back in a sec.
Everybody wants those slots.
So Quinn up first with the 7.
And an 8 for Karen.
Very important set for the ladies here.
If one of the two archers take the set, they've become national champion. That's a 9 for Quinn. And if they draw this set, then it's a 1-arrow shootout. It's an 8.
So Sean,
Scores
both on the same score, all down to the last arrow. We're not looking overly pleased with that shot. It's a 6. Giving a Karen there, you can see the front bow hand solid in the grip, and that's a 10.
Karen takes it.
Karen takes another national title. Well done, Karen.
Well done to Karen. As the viewers can see, you know, Karen shot a miss in one of her rounds, and she came back and she won it. That's what's quite nice about the set system, where on the compound system, you shoot a miss, you're out of this ball game.
Karen, so just talk us through it. What are we looking at there?
Okay, so that is the gold medal match shootout. So to get there, the day before you have to shoot the qualifying round. So you're shooting 72 arrows, you get a score, and then you get ranked. And then there's a shootout to get to the medal matches. Of course, I
mean, you look so serious in this.
I know. My friends are teasing me with that scrunchy face.
Yes.
That cute little scrunchy face. Barbara, who's the gold squad and previously went with me to many of the world champs and that, said I need to calm I should be more relaxed.
Right.
In fact, one of my coaches says...
So you're happy with your performance?
Yes, so I had to, because I'd shot so terribly in the ranking round, I was right at the bottom, so I had to...
Make a comeback?
I had to beat everybody all the way to the gold medal match. I was very nervous. Woo!
Your experience, though, as an international competitor, someone who's competed at the Olympic Championships, Africa Championships, Continental World Championships, etc. Did you tap into those resources?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hadn't before, and I'd made another error in the mixed team match and completely plutz. And beginner's error, which sort of clapped me sideways and said. I will also say that the Cape wind helped as well, because it was training in the wind here.
Oh, you guys train in the wind.
Yeah, and up there it was very windy, so I had some advantage on that, and I was shooting against a very good archer from Namibia.
Right.
And yeah.
tell me what's going on in our next event for Western Cape athletes.
For Western Cape athletes, we've got a few indoor tournaments coming up.
Yeah.
But if we want to qualify for the African Continental Championships, which is a qualifier for the Olympics, to get a slot, there are only 2 slots for the Olympics. There you have to come first or second.
Is it different divisions?
Yeah, there's men and women.
Right.
Senior.
Yeah. But I mean, categories, sort of.
No, that's
Is
it.
that it?
That's it. So Olympics, there's 64 women and 64 men from across
And
the
you're going
world.
to be one of the top 2?
No, in Africa, yeah.
In Africa?
So,
to go to the
African
Olympics?
slot.
They only got 2 slots for
Two slots.
Africa and
There
the
aren't that
Olympics?
many, There aren't that
Right.
many athletes. So compared to, say, Europe, the European continent. But to get there, I have to actually shoot some scores. So we've got some qualifying tournaments during the year. And takes a lot of time.
We're fortunate to have the likes of Karen involved at this level. Folks, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking sport and promise. Don't go away.